Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad.
And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, can you stop? I'm kind of. My friend, I'll say it clear. I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life. Can you please? That's full. I've traveled each
and every highway.
And more, much more than this. I mess it up. I did it my way. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too much to mention. I did what I had to do. I did it my way. And yes.
5.5 minutes later. It's just family, welcome home,
I butchered that hard. I felt good about it going in, and then it was absolutely messed it up.
Welcome home, family. It's your mom and your father, the crooner, apparently. Yeah, no, the melody went a little off the rails.
I thought I knew it.
I know. It gets a little, I think.
And then I completely lost it when it mattered most.
I thought that you just lost it because you were feeling so emotional.
I'm not trying to blame on you the fact that you joined in like so hot. You know what I mean? I was kind of like, I had my moment, and then you just jumped right in like louder than me. So I'm not saying it was that. I'm just saying
I thought that we were going to do a duet. I guess you're going full solo.
I was kind of looking for a solo career.
I didn't know that you were the ego was that big that huge. I wasn't allowed to be part of this group.
Massive.
No, I thought that maybe you might have messed it up because you were feeling emotional with the idea that Jack is gone.
You know what?
I wish I had bourbon. It's 9:00 in the morning, so I don't think we should be drinking bourbon, but I would wish to pour one out for sweet Jack.
You mean a couple cocktails?
A couple cocktails to pour one out for Jack.
My favorite was just the way he ended it. Was like, I have no regrets. I did some cannonballs. Had a couple cocktails. Had a ball.
Evan, gone so soon.
You know what? Here's my only beef with that.
I'm really mad about it. Like, I'm not gonna listen. I don't blame Joan because let's be real, she probably didn't see a future in Jack's eyes.
Yeah.
But the fact that they didn't make him stay around. What my beef is gonna be is I believe that they're staying in the mansion at least for a while. I don't think that I don't remember in Golden Bachelor. I don't think they really traveled a ton. So the fact that they can't just let Jack stay, like I hope episode 3 starts next week and Jack's just there. Just let the man stay. Like he's having the time of his life. He doesn't have to go out on the dates. He's happy to stay in the mansion, just doing more cannonballs. The man was doing so many cannonballs.
My thing,
having them all rate them.
He's like, I already talked to Joan. I'm going to do some cannonballs. He's like, check my list.
Talk to Joan, going to get my ass in the
My thing was like, we know that there's a chunk of guys that are there because producers said they should be there. Like that's always how it is, right? It's like she already probably has her top 4. You know what I mean?
Of course.
And they keep a lot, for good television. And I'm like, dude, Jack is like one of the guys you keep around at least halfway through.
I feel as if we've never encountered anyone like Jack on our screen before.
What did he say when he left and he made everyone laugh? I didn't understand it.
I didn't understand it either.
Was too thick. I couldn't understand. He was like, some guy. And then all of a sudden everybody's like, yeah.
I rewound
it is that some
twice.
Shit? Yeah, me too. It's like some Chicago shit. I don't know. Like I was so bummed. I really wanted to figure out what it was.
And everyone's just like,
dang it. And then all of a sudden everyone started laughing. But it was funny that Joan was like, the boys are gonna miss you.
Yeah,
like she
she's like-
knew like this guy's a hit.
She's like, listen, you and I, maybe it's not for me.
Right.
But at the end of the day, the men, they're going to miss your sensibilities.
Yes.
They're going to miss your energy. They're going to miss your catering skills because now, you know, Jack's
know.
gone. Jack,
The fact that he wasn't cooking seemed insane to me.
well, because Jack decided to have a couple cocktails and then troll Christopher
Oh, poor
about his
Christopher.
meat. The producers are trying to get Jack to talk about Joan, and he's just like,
He's like,
listen, I like it red. I like it mooing. What can I say? You can't just slap a patty like that. They're like, Jack,
like,
can you
what are your
talk about
thoughts?
how you
He's
feel
like,
about
great
Joan?
girl, great girl. Anyway, the thing with the burgers is, God, he's unreal.
What type of pool filter do you got on this pool? Okay,
Exactly.
it's incredible the amount of cleanliness that happens. There's nothing floating around at the top. Who's the guy? Give me the number.
See, the thing about him though, and like, well, you know, I guess we're already just kind of launching into this, which is like, my thoughts are, you know,
Sock puppets.
the way the episode started. You know how like they went into the mansion,
Yeah.
and it's funny because every guy turned into the dad that follows around his kids and turn off lights behind them. You know what I mean?
Where Kim was just like, wow, the square footage on this is
every
unbelievable.
dad was walking around like shaking posts, testing things out.
They're measuring
like
shit.
the one guy's like touching the pool. It's pretty good. That's good temperature. They're all testing things. Like it was so funny. Every dad's like, what do you think the square footage is? They became what every dad. I mean, they're looking at the lawn, wondering what kind of seating they're doing. Like every guy became your dad, which is just the most typical. Like, what do you think that what kind of timber they used on the framing here? You know, I think that 3/4 inch. Like they just became the most dad
The
ever.
first few minutes of this was literally like reality TV dads unleashed. It was just like you set a group of 20 dads into a home and see how quickly things are getting repaired,
Yes.
things are getting measured, numbers are getting called.
Even just the cooking. They're just immediately cooking, grilling,
I know.
fixing things. Like
but then
it's
also
so funny.
critiquing each other about how their style
Yeah.
of how much butter they
No,
use.
I would do it, but I just loved
It's
because like
just all your dads.
when the normal season goes and all the 20-year-old guys are in there,
Yeah.
they just like pick their bed, start drinking, walking around, jumping in the pool, lounging, tanning. Like they don't give a shit about like how the place is constructed.
You know, there's very, very little food being consumed because there's just so much drink being consumed in that mansion 24/7 when the young people are in there. There was an entire feast. The mansion probably has never looked better. I mean,
Yes.
Kim showed up. He fixed that garbage disposal like
drywall
that.
repairs were made. I mean, the guys, like the producers walked in and they're like, oh my gosh, this mansion has been accused of being like dilapidated. And now the bunk beds are screwed in. You know what I mean? Like,
You know how Airbnb, then they charge you the fine if there's anything
Yeah.
damaged? This Airbnb, it's the opposite.
Yeah.
They're like, oh my God,
it's better
everything's
than the way they
fixed.
found it. It's so
They put a new coat of paint on in
funny.
all the rooms.
But then we had our outliers.
We did
And
have our outliers.
Jack is not a fixer to me. Jack
No.
is a drinker.
Jack is a
eater,
lounger 5,000.
He's not the guy. He rents a condo. He does not own a house and have all this like he doesn't want to own a house.
No.
Because that means fixing. And he's
No.
just not into that. Him and Pascal, you know why they both live in like a high rise, let's say. One is just to chill and drink. The other is bougie.
Well, you know, Pascal definitely lives in like a penthouse somewhere.
Of course.
And-
overlooking the water.
Yeah, and
Wherever.
it's absolutely sprawling. It's
100%.
absolutely massive. But Jack with the cannonballs, Evan, I was crying laughing. He wouldn't stop. It was just cannonball after cannonball after cannonball. Like it wasn't like I'm going to test out this water, hit one cannonball, and then lay on a raft and chill and have a cocktail.
Yeah.
This man who's in his 60s did a cannonball after cannonball because he wanted to get a higher rating from the judges. You know what I mean? This was
when
like
was
this
the last time you
became
did a cannonball? It's not comfy.
No, it
like,
hurts.
Even not elevated.
Yeah.
Even just like off the side of the pool, it's kind of like, okay, that took some energy. He's jumping off like a 4 foot, 5 foot ledge to do this.
He's
over and over.
I mean, his body has to be absolutely bruised and broken at
Such
this
a
point,
kid.
just like absolutely
Just a
red from
big
just
kid.
smacking the water. Yeah, no, Jack is not the fixer in the house. Jack is, if we go to the biblical terms, as they say, there's the Mary and the Martha. The Martha was in the kitchen cleaning, etc.
Yeah.
And Mary was sitting
Mary and
Mary
the
was sitting at
Martha.
the foot of Jesus listening. Jack is a Mary. Jack is gonna
Except instead of sitting at the foot of Joan, he's cannonballing.
Yeah, that's true. He's the third. He's the third sister.
There's Mary and Martha, and then there's just like one of the
There's
kids
Jack.
they watch, and that's Jack. Jack is just like little Jeff, in the corner that's just jumping off the ledge. Like he's definitely not one of them.
He's the third sister, Marie, who was just off to party while Jesus was in the house.
And I loved Pascal because Pascal was preying on all these dads being the classic, like, let's save $1.
Yes,
and he's like, I can take advantage of this.
I want to talk about Pascal. Iconicness, just hitting the mansion. But we got to take a quick pause. Family. Listen, these Goldens, they're going to be up to a lot the next couple weeks, even just this week. They were up to so much. Pool parties, Jack's cannonballs, talent shows, all the things. But here's the deal. Whatever they're doing, whatever you're doing, you're bringing your microbiome with you too. Yes, the 38 trillion bacteria that live in and on you, especially your gut, are essential to whole body health. Your gut is a central hub for various pathways through the body, and a healthy gut microbiome means benefits for digestion, skin health, heart health, your immune system, and so much more. So let's talk about our favorite, Seed. Seed's DS-01 Daily Symbiotic benefits your gut, skin, and heart health in just 2 capsules a day. We've been taking Seed's DS-01 Daily Symbiotic every day for the last few years, and the benefits have been so clear to me. For me, the most noticeable difference has been in areas like digestion, specifically my regularity, alleviating the occasional constipation, and promoting bloat ease, and my skin. My skin has been popping post-Seed, okay?
Yeah, Seed is truly amazing. Seed's patented capsule and capsule design means all 24 strains of bacteria survive the journey from shipping to your door through digestion without synthetic or chemical coatings. No refrigeration needed, and Seed goes the extra mile by testing probiotics in chyme, the closest system developed to model human digestion and the gut to ensure 100% of the dose is delivered to where it needs to go.
And here's the thing, probiotics and prebiotics work best when used consistently like other routine health habits. Well, Seed makes it easy to stay consistent with Seed's subscription service and the convenience of no need for refrigeration and the free travel vial from the welcome kit that allows you to take DS-01 on the go. Fam, Seed is it. With clinical trials and breakthrough research published in top scientific journals, Seed's probiotic research and development make DS-01 a product you can trust. Support your gut this season with Seed's DS-01 Daily Symbiotic. Go to seed.com/momdad and use code 25momdad to get 25% off your first month. That's 25% off your first month of Seed's DS-01 Daily Symbiotic at seed.com/momdad, code 25momdad. Okay, family, so a few things before we dive into the recap. So obviously, today we're recapping episode 2 of the Golden Bachelorette, which we will continue to be doing, but wanted to make a little announcement. Family, we're covering the new season of Love is Blind. Oh, I'm so happy. I love covering Love is Blind. Love is Blind, officially, the first episodes drop October 2nd, I believe. Yeah. And we will be recapping it, the first few episodes, a few days later, which will be like, I don't know, the following Tuesday. I don't have the exact date, but stay tuned. So here's the deal. This week, obviously, we had this one episode. Next week, we also only have one episode, because then the following week we're going to be recapping Love is Blind and Golden Bachelorette, and then the next week Love is Blind, Golden Bachelorette. So just we're a little bit in ebb and flow here with the episode drops because of the reality TV of it all. But a few days after those first few episodes of Love is Blind drops, we will be recapping them.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
So happy.
So fun always.
I've missed Nick. I really have.
Oh, yeah. I wonder what kind of Hawaiian shirt he's going to have this time.
I don't think he's going to be in a Hawaiian shirt because it's not perfect match and he's not going to be super happy. I
think he'll bring it over. I think he'll be like, guys, I have an idea. And I think I should do this one solo as well.
Can you imagine? Oh, the scandal if he shows up on Love is Blind solo.
He's written her out of all the contract.
He's sneaky writing Vanessa out of all contractual.
I had so much fun. during Perfect Match. The best time ever.
But I cannot wait to see some Nick Lachey and meet some new Love is Blind people. Also, I just wanted to mention a big thank you to my mother for joining us last week.
Yes.
You all were so lovely. You loved Sylvia.
She kind of killed it.
She did a great job.
Like we were like, you never know.
You never
right?
know.
Non-podcaster, also just like your mom.
My mom.
You're just kind of like, what kind of hecticness? Is this going to be weird? Is she going to freeze?
Yeah.
You just never know how people act. And she was a natural.
She did an amazing job. And now
she's already trying to now join the podcast.
Now she's like, bring me
you
on.
guys need a third?
She's like, bring me on constantly. So you know what? You guys all loved her and you want to see more of her. And so the plan is to have Mom maybe on a couple of this season's episodes.
Yes.
Also I now want all of her opinions with these men and how she thinks the dates are going and how she would feel if she was in Joan's situation.
The only thing that
now I'm
annoys me
curious
about
like
her
a
on the
cat.
podcast is she does this thing where she goes, well, I don't care about looks. I'm just talking about, is he a nice guy? And I'm like, Sylvia, get out of here. Okay, be honest. Is he hot or not? Enough with the perfect answer. You know what I mean? Is he hot? Well, I do find him attractive, but it's really about the soul of a person. That's not why we're here. But she killed it. It was so fun having her on.
She did a great job, and
best.
thank you for all of your support for her family.
Yes.
I know it meant a lot, and we
She loved it.
Love having her on. And lastly, before diving in, I did want to quickly mention this and acknowledge this. I didn't want to say it on last week's episode because my mom was sitting here. But during the cast bios, the topic of gray sweatpants was brought up, how they're cute on. I think they're obviously so cute, and it's like this whole TikTok-y trend that's like, my boyfriend in the gray sweatpants, and I thought it was just because it's like a cute, cozy look, and Evan said absolutely no, it's because of dick print, and I said no, you have your mind in the gutter. Turns out, family, you let us know that Evan was correct, so I'll take the L on that one. You
also
were right.
So sweet that you're like. It's just gray sweatpants and people like gray and it's just fun and cute. Meanwhile, welcome to the real world. The dick.
Oh my God. I just thought it was just like it's cozy. And like gray specifically is kind of like super cozy.
Yes. Yeah, gray's extra cozy. You know how gray is. Unreal. So innocent, so sweet.
So I bow a knee to you on that one, and I'll take the L. Thank you, family, for letting me know now that, in certain company, I shouldn't make comments about again, around maybe my mom about the gray sweatpants of it all, because now I know what all of you mean when you
dirty
say that.
minds.
You dirty minded people. All right.
Can we get back?
Let's get back to this family episode 2 of Joan's Golden Bachelorette season. Another phenomenal episode. My cry counter was 7 on this one.
That's the main
especially
thing.
During the prom. I was an absolute mess. Just gorgeous, incredible.
It's just it's a sweetness.
Yeah.
It's a depth, people talking about loss, heartache, how much they love their kids, their relationship. It's a completely different energy. It's emotional. It pulls on your heartstrings versus the non-golden. You're just kind of like, I hate these people.
Sometimes you love them.
No, I'm saying you love them, but then there's 80% of these guys suck.
Yeah, it'll be more I hate sometimes what production is doing in this situation. But with this show, I even had a moment, and we'll get into it, but during the prom portion where we find out that Jordan had a little datesy with Taylor Dane, the singer, and I was brought back to, Bachelor of Yore, where Victoria Fuller had dated one of the country singers, and it became this massive drama. And yet in this energy of this show, it was a quick moment where it was oh, how crazy. He dated Taylor Dane. That's awesome. And then we moved on. It wasn't this massive drama that then the men are I think he's still in love with Taylor Dane and he came here for her. And
But also what that identifies though is that Jordan is just... He's working in a little bit different league. You know what I mean? The celebrities coming on he's like, oh, went out with her. You know what I mean?
Well,
like you identified that early. You're like, I'm hot for him. He's amazing. Blah, blah, blah.
Jordan,
and then low key, he's
one,
like dating the celebs that are guests on the show.
Episode
you know what I mean?
1, I was flustered by Jordan. I think he is so cute. And the
swagger.
energy is so charming.
Yeah.
And I stand by this.
Yes.
And it was definitely a confirmation when you're like, oh, you're out here dating celebrity.
Right. Sorry. Yeah, I was definitely correct in my feelings toward him.
It was the confirmation. Now, we'll see what that looks like as time goes on. Is he a serial celebrity dater?
Is he our playboy?
Is he our playboy?
Pascal too obvious?
No, Pascal's definitely a playboy.
Yeah, you're right.
But is Jordan also?
But is Jordan also?
Remember,
is Jordan and Pascal going out after this?
In cast bios, I right away saw him and I said, I bet he's the playboy. And then I was taken aback. But maybe he is the playboy. Now, Jordan, listen.
I didn't identify that at all, by the way. I was like, oh, Jordan. Really?
I felt that energy in my bones and I say, Jordan, this is, you know, I'm not coming for you. Love you.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Love you bunchies. Big time. Okay.
Yeah, chill.
But I'm curious to see, you know, is he our celebrity dater? Is he,
we'll see.
you know, on the show dating Golden Bachelorette celebrity?
Right, exactly.
We shall see.
We shall see.
But he won't have a problem finding dates if it doesn't work out with him and Joan.
It's actually kind of crazy. I mean,
I have friends who are literally planning on sliding into his DMs if it doesn't work out with him and Joan. They're waiting patiently.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
It's just the truth.
Yeah,
of the matter.
I mean, incredible. And good for him. You know what I mean? Good for him. My wife is in love with him. Fantastic. Glad it's working out for him.
But anyway, let's go back.
Okay.
So like we said, with this whole episode starts off with the dads going full haywire.
Yeah.
The dads and granddads are going nuts in the mansion. They are shown the bunk beds, which is, you know, like last season is just harrowing. You're like, are you joking? Like, at least for the Goldens, can we give them non-bunk beds? Just like even a twin where some of the beds are at least twins, but can we, or put them up in a hotel where they have separate rooms or like one roommate in there? No, they're giving them the bunk beds.
I like that Charles L took that time too to like also have another flex where he's like, you know, I might be one of the older guys in here, but I am young inside because I can go in the top bunk. Like he's always kind of looking for reasons to kind of just be like, by the way, I'm kind of hotter than everybody here.
Charles L is a walking icon. I mentioned last week he reminds me so much of my Nana in the fact that it's like the simultaneous incredible humility and also just like, but don't forget I'm hot as hell.
Don't you forget
I'm
Mr. Steal Your Girl.
You know, like
what I mean?
my Nana, it was just like, you know, I am just this humble, I'm a woman of the Lord, but don't forget that these legs go on for days type energy. And Charles L is delivering that. He's like, well,
it's like an angel with a little bit of an ego.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like an angel with just a little chip.
Which I love. There's a little more of a character arc there. Yes. Yeah. An angel just who knows their worth. Exactly. That's what that is. It's an angel with self-worth. Okay.
Exactly.
But Pascal, while all these men are tripping about obviously the bunk beds, understandably so, Pascal is distraught about the fact that he doesn't have multiple closets.
Yeah, he's like, this closet's for everyone?
He's like, no.
It's like, this isn't even big enough for me.
And then we find out later, he somehow haggled his way into getting that closet in full and more. He's like, oh, there's another one. He told Joan. I swear to God, this man, because I'm sure that they have a limit on how many pieces of luggage they can bring. Maybe they're like, hey guys, you got three bags tops. You know, in Pascal's contract for the show, no other guys had a contract. Pascal did. And it was like, either I bring a U-Haul or I don't go on the show.
Yeah, don't go on the show. Hey, I just love...
He's bringing an entire U-Haul, just like boop, boop, boop.
And he said, I don't even know how to do laundry. Like, that's what's hilarious, too. It's not even like, oh, I don't want to do my own laundry. It's like, I've never done it. I haven't done it in 40 years.
40 years.
Which is really interesting.
Which I'm like...
Who does his laundry? I guess maybe
all of his girlfriends.
Oh my gosh, his girlfriends. Or just, you know, he has like people that work at the house, I guess. But it's like 40 years?
40 years.
Never done your laundry?
No.
It means he was like in his 20s and he never did his laundry.
I'm just imagining 500 girlfriends. Yeah. That's what I'm imagining with him, where it's just
girlfriend number 3 does the laundry.
Well, he's like, you know, girlfriend number 3 literally like puts the clothes on my body.
Right.
Girlfriend number 4 buttons the top.
Well, and it's
funny,
funny.
we have a beautiful sensuous moment together.
I literally was thinking too, he got Greg to do it for him. He was going to pay him $100 to do his laundry.
Wild.
But I thought to myself, if he's been getting his laundry professionally done by like a service, Greg's doing a horrible job because he probably doesn't know how to fold it right. So like even Pascal's used to probably it being folded like professionally in his drawer, looking incredible. And then Greg's just kind of like doing the classic dad fold.
Greg did a beautiful job.
He did a great
folding.
job, but I'm just saying, I guarantee you that even Pascal paying the money is like, wow, this is not worth it because the fold is all wrong and it's not ironed correctly. And
do you think in the $100 that he told Greg that he would give him that included folding?
Oh,
or did Greg just do that?
No,
on
it
his own
included
accord?
folding, but because he also said of course it includes ironing. Remember?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he goes, "That you want me to iron it?" So he goes, "Well, of course." You know what I mean? Like he's like, "Duh!" Like you think I'm going to start ironing now? Like I'm paying for a service.
It's Tom Ford when he took Joan later.
Yeah, it was like, "Oh, there's Hermes,
Gucci, Tom Ford." I mean, honest to God, somebody lock up that closet. That closet is thousands and thousands of dollars.
Are like, why would you pay for that shit? Fruit on the loom, everything.
Hanes,
it's a good quality shirt. I don't know what you could replace it. Yeah, no one else.
I got 15 of the same tee.
Yeah. Wait, is that one of those Hermes belts? 100%. No one even knows what those brands are.
What's the H stand for?
Yeah, what's
this G?
Overpriced bullshit. So funny.
But Greg's doing that, and as this is also happening, on top of it, Pascal is like, Greg's a great guy. But he snores so much. And he's complaining about Greg
gets him to do his laundry, then just obliterates him in front of everybody.
About his snoring.
He definitely just immediately, you work for me now. I can mock you and you work for me.
Greg seems like such a lovely man.
He's a sweet guy. He's just definitely like very intimidated by Pascal.
I mean, I don't know what's going on. Or he just wants to be his best friend.
Yeah,
and he's using this as a way. And I'm like, oh, Greg, no.
It's like, you got me working for me? You got me working for you and you're mocking me. It's brutal.
And I don't know if this was like for serious, but then Pascal like punched him in the middle of the night or like shook him or punched him while he was snoring, and he was nude. Oh yeah, that was the other thing. Pascal's like, just so you know, I am also nude.
Yeah, so he gets up and walks around naked at night to go to the bathroom. And at one point in the middle of the night, he's like smacking Greg to make him stop snoring naked.
And then Greg says, something like,
it's not the first time I've had a naked Frenchman punch me in the face or something like that. Me
from sleep. And I was like, Greg, do tell. I'm like, tell us a yarn. Give us this. What are these tales of you getting punched by a naked Frenchman in the middle of the night? One thing I will say that was
interesting about that, though, was that we saw a little something there with Pascal saying that wasn't funny.
Oh, when Jack was doing the sock puppets during the talent show. And by the way, love this with the Goldens. Jack was like, I won't say who, but someone punched Greg in the middle of the night. And yeah, Pascal was like it's not funny.
So that was an interesting little like chink in the armor there. Like, I wonder, he doesn't like he can talk all day about Greg, but he didn't like the fact that someone said anything about him.
Yeah, because he was going around the house talking about his snoring.
So I don't know. Interesting.
I don't think there's going to be like villains on this season, but do you think Pascal might be...
I just think there's a couple guys that take themselves very seriously.
Yeah.
Chock, Kim, and Pascal. Those three.
Yes, you're right.
Feel like they're kind of competitive. They take themselves very seriously. They can laugh at everybody else. It's all good, but I don't see those guys laughing at themselves.
Yeah.
So if they feel threatened...
Kim is a borderline for me.
No, this wasn't like any of them suck. It was just more like, I don't sense from them a playfulness. They're kind of serious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Pascal's fun.
He's very playful.
But again, it's always with the, I'm rich, I'm good looking, I'm cool, women love me. You know what I mean? It's always kind of like, I'm playful about how awesome I am.
Yeah.
But a lot of the other guys are really playful with the ability to make fun of themselves. And I'm not seeing that from them.
No,
so we'll see.
Pascal, even though God, watching him on my screen is delicious.
No, he's incredible.
What a delight to see that man.
Incredible.
The commentary. And
I can't wait for his date.
Well, and I'm going to talk. Oh yeah, next week.
We're
going to talk about his talent show, because you best believe I'm going to be trying to get a hold of Pascal for a haircut.
Yes.
Okay. See if maybe he'll give me a little bit of a deal.
Well, we'll say good things about you. Can you give me a deal?
Okay, but before we continue, got to take another quick pause. Family, these gentlemen are older, So there are probably a lot of vitamins in the mansion currently. You know, I take my vitamins as well, but we cannot forget about the kids too. It's so important and beneficial for the kiddos to get all their essential vitamins and minerals. But here's the thing. Typical children's vitamins are basically candy in disguise, filled with 2 teaspoons of sugar, unhealthy chemicals, and other gummy junk. That is why Haya was created, the pediatrician-approved, super-powered, chewable vitamin. This is the only vitamin we give our kiddo, okay? And Ember loves them. She asks for her Haya vitamins on her own every single morning because even though Haya is made with 0 sugar and 0 gummy junk, it tastes great and is perfect for picky eaters. It's incredible.
Yeah, Haya fills in the most common gaps in modern children's diets to provide the full body nourishment our kids need with a delicious taste they love. Formulated with the help of nutritional experts, Haya is pressed with a blend of 12 organic fruits and veggies, then supercharged with 15 essential vitamins and minerals to help support immunity, energy, brain function, mood, concentration, teeth, bones, and more.
It's non-GMO, vegan, dairy-free, allergy-free, gelatin-free, nut-free, and everything else you can imagine. Haya is designed for kids 2 and up and sent straight to your door, so parents have one less thing to worry about. They make it so easy and also fun. Check this out. You get this cool bottle with your first order, and then they send you eco-friendly refills every month. And when we got our first order, the bottle also actually came with stickers, which Ember loved. And it was so fun too, because she got to then decorate the bottle. It became personal. Not only did she love like the taste of the vitamins, and she also just gets excited with the bottle. It's so cute. They're just the best. I also recommend checking out their new kids probiotic and nighttime essentials. And we have worked out a special deal with Haya for their best-selling children's vitamin. Receive 50% off your first order. To claim this deal, you must go to hayahealth.com/mom-and-dad. This deal is not available on their regular website. Go to hayahealth.com/mom-and-dad, hayahealth.com/mom-and-dad, and get your kids the full body nourishment they need to grow into healthy adults. Okay, let's get into some of these dates. JP, you know, he comes out, he explains in detail the rules of this game show, essentially. And then Charles L. at the end goes, there's the pause, and he goes, could you repeat?
Yeah.
By the way,
funny.
and Charles L. is dying. Again, it's the sassy angel.
Yes.
He's the sassy angel where he's just like, you know, he floats around in his angelic energy, but he's got that little wit that's just
hilarious.
popping. Oh, I was laughing so hard, and Jesse was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Exactly.
Jesse's like, I have a tea time,
He's like,
and now
I was scheduled to work for 10 minutes today.
And now you've pushed that to 12.
I might miss the first hole. This is bullshit.
But they say that they're going to have their first group date with Gary, Bob, Jonathan, Charles L, Mark, Jordan, Guy, and Keith. And it is a prom date.
So cute.
I loved this concept. Number one, I thought the concept was so sweet and endearing. Their senior prom. Like, I'm only 35, almost 36. And I think 35. Yes, going to be 36. And if I think back to prom, it's like, oh, that feels like so long ago.
Yeah.
But it brings back so many sweet memories. Your prom and my prom we went to together. We got kicked out for freak dancing.
Remember freak dancing? That was sick.
Our conservative Christian school said no. And Evan and I got kicked out both times.
2 Bible distance.
Yep, and the Holy Spirit is between you both.
Yes.
And we got kicked out, not for the entire time, but they removed us.
Yeah, as a timeout.
We got put in a timeout for a little bit because we were
gyrating, grinding, cultivating. I don't know.
Oh, gross. Oh my God. But that was our prom. But like thinking back to prom makes my heart warm,
100%.
you know, and thinking about, oh my God, those memories when we were like, you know, 18 or whatever.
So
it's just so sweet. So the idea of these people in their 60s having their prom, and the suits are from like the 70s and the 80s. They were so cute, getting all dressed together. Pascal dressing Charles. He's like, you're going to look gorgeous, my friend.
So funny. Jonathan, the no shirt with the tattoo
what
peeking
a
out.
look.
It's funny because he's so kind of like sweet and kind of sheepish in a way.
Yeah, I don't know about sheepish.
Not sheepish, but he's not
gentle. He's very gentle. Yeah.
And so him rocking like the full chest tat, no shirt was like fire.
It was absolute fire, and we'll get into it in a minute. But Jonathan did not go to his prom.
Yes.
He'd never been to a prom. So the fact that Jonathan was like, "I'm wearing a pink suit, no shirt," I was like, "Hell fucking yes, you are, Jonathan." It's like, look at how good you look for your very first prom.
He looked amazing,
amazing. But they have this big stretch limo. They did the vintage Polaroid, which made me tear up. But this is the part that I really, really liked about it. Okay. I was so grateful that when they pulled up to that high school, that it had a crowd there.
Yes.
Because often on these types of dates, they're super uncomfortable.
It's awkwardly empty and there's like 10 of them.
Yeah, there's 10 of them and they're like dancing together and there's a DJ, but you're like, there's no human energy happening. Everyone's just kind of staring at each other. So the fact that they walked in, JP is making, the announcements on the stage. They're going to have games and participate in certain things, but we've got a crowded room full of people who are also dancing, drinking the spiked punch, having a good time. It just made for a better group date.
Yeah, and having it be semi-normal with a bunch of people would definitely like loosen everybody up and like make them feel less awkward when it's like, when they do the dance off and it's like of the sneakers, you know what I mean? It's like there's people, there's energy. Yes. It feels like we can kind of it's like a wedding. You're like in it.
And you've got a crowd in there who wants to be there, so they're cheering everybody on. They're excited, like the energy is pumping. I think that's just a side note to production. Like keep doing that. Like have people be in these rooms when that stuff happens because it makes the contestants and the lead have more fun.
Yes.
Okay. But yes, we're told that number one, there's going to be a prom king announced at the end of the night, and that prom king is going to get the very first group date rose of Joan's. But they're also going to have a dance off. This is when JP goes award-winning artist Taylor, and for a moment I'm like, they didn't get Taylor Swift.
Oh my God. No.
I was like, what? I freaked out for a second, literally hit pause. I was like, is Taylor Swift about to come out and the internet's just about to explode? No, we got Taylor Dane, who I love Taylor Dane's music. The second is like, tell it to my heart. Yeah. Tell you I'm the only one.
And she was blowing.
Evan, I looked up, I believe she's 62.
I mean, the voice was crazy.
The vocals were cranking. Crazy. She was looking gorge.
Yeah.
Her vocals were unreal the entire time. Like
insane.
Full belting
the whole time.
Unbelievable. Shout out to Taylor.
Taylor looked amazing. She definitely caught Jordan's eye. They've been on a date before, so it was like a you know what I mean? Like it was hilarious.
It was funny because as soon as the camera it panned to Taylor when they announced her, and then it cut quick to Jordan, and I literally thought that was a strange expression.
Right.
Like a little nervous, and I was like, that was weird. And
so
when they brought it up later, I'm like, oh yeah. He said, I think later he said it was like a date. He's like, it was like 5 minutes together, or whatever. And he went up and asked her, like, do you remember me?
That's
and she's just
funny.
like, sure, honey, yeah, I remember you.
You were
sure.
boy 45 of the week.
She's like, sure.
Sure, honey.
Also, I did know when the dance off started, Jonathan first came out, blew a kiss to Taylor Dane.
Yes.
I was like, Jonathan.
I love that. He's like, by the way, if this doesn't work out. You know what I mean? That was funny. He was like, okay, Jonathan, you're playing Mr. Meek and Mild, but the boy's out here. You know what I mean? He threw a kiss at her. I was like, whoa. So you're telling me there's a chance?
Like there was a kiss and a spin.
Yeah.
Then back to Joan.
Yeah, back to Joan.
Oh my God! But the dance off was hilarious. Guy was literally doing the coffee grinder on the floor. Keith was dragging him around, and I was just like, "Protect his hands. He's an ER doctor. Protect his hands."
Seriously.
I guess that's a surgeon,
dance was epic. I mean, it was the most dad awkward. Like when he just came out, the way he was moving his body was like, this is the first time I've ever moved my body before. It was like baby giraffe.
But I lived for the fact that he just put it all out there.
Break dancing on the floor. Like it was pretty epic.
It was incredible. And And then it was like they showed them spiking the punch. They showed
Yeah,
their
it was so
pictures
cute.
from their own proms.
Yes.
It was emotional and it was like fun. I felt like it was fun. Normally these type of group dates where they're like, we're going to do this party is awkward and weird. I was having fun watching it. I could feel their fun jumping off the screen. But then jumping back to Jonathan. So we end up finding out that Jonathan says, because he had told us he'd never been to prom.
Yeah.
We find out that he went to a small Catholic school and was the only student of color there.
Yeah.
And he like drummed up the courage to ask a girl, and last minute she pulled out and he was shattered and decided not to go. And it was so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Also a really important moment on this show to have this conversation. And him sitting down with Joan and explaining how he felt and how there's been, it's like, here's this man in his 60s and something that happened in his high school that it was so horrific and traumatic that he's been carrying it. But of course, this entire time to then have the opportunity to live this, like he said, it put this like almost Band-Aid over that wound that had been there. And then I know I'm jumping ahead, but when she ended up crowning the prom king, she gave the rose/crown to Jonathan. And him walking up there and he had tears streaming down his face. It was just a really important moment.
Yeah.
And it was my favorite part of the episode.
Yeah. Like just him being vulnerable, honest, open, and then even crying and then accessing that. It was just like, it was really a lesson to, it was really a lesson on just like being real and accessing that. And, it was powerful. It was really majorly powerful.
No, it really was. Like you said, the vulnerability absolutely was just like that he was willing to share that.
Yeah.
That like deep hurt with like then the racism that he experienced. And, and then again, to the viewers as well, like what an important moment to be like, here's this man in his 60s who experienced this in his teens and he's carried this.
Yeah.
And this is something that needs to be discussed and talked about. And and then just in general, Jonathan is a catch and a half.
Big time.
Jonathan
he keeps winning over the hearts, that's for sure.
Jonathan seems like the easiest, like there's a handful of guys that I'm big time rooting for. And Jonathan's one of them because Jonathan seems like the most wonderful, easy person to talk to. I feel like every time him and Joan have had a moment together, they not only are like feeling intimate in their smiling and their comfort and laughter together, but also he goes somewhere deep.
Yes.
He's not keeping it surface level. It's like, hey, we're going to be playful and flirty and fun, but we're also like going there. I'm willing to be vulnerable. I'm willing to go there with you. And, on top of it, he's extremely handsome. Like Joan keeps saying, Joan thinks he's an absolute cute cutie.
100%.
And I feel like Jonathan has the potential to go really far in this.
I think so. I see him top 4 for at least.
Yeah.
I see him hometowning.
I feel like he has to be. And then also there was a moment that made me fall in love with him even more. And I tried to rewind it and I can't figure out who it is. I don't know if it was Jack or someone else, but there's a scene where Jonathan is grabbing some guy's hand and jumping into the pool together.
They're just jumping in the pool together.
Hand in hand doing cannonballs together. And I was like, make me fall in love with you more, dude. Like, are you kidding me?
The range on this guy is top.
Just the range. And again, and like you said, the vulnerability as well to like get up there, accept the crown, shed the tears, and just be completely him.
Yeah.
And I love him.
Yeah, he's amazing.
He's amazing. Another man I love is Charles.
Yeah, the way he sat in like the way I was thinking about this. I was like, if we're sad or we're struggling or we're feeling lonely or whatever. Let's say we're at the dance. Let's say you're at the dance, right? And you're feeling a little overwhelmed by it. Maybe you're reminded of some tragedy, you're sad, whatever. You're going to be on your phone, right? You're almost pretending like maybe something's up.
Yeah.
You're kind of sitting there like on your phone, maybe looking like, even if you're just like scrolling the news to kill the time, you're not going to sit there with your hands folded and just stare into the sky.
I know.
And it's funny because our generation and younger is so used to like seeing if anyone's sitting down there on their phone.
Yeah.
If they're not
addicted
talking to someone, they're on their
sure.
phone. But it's also like a blanket, like a security blanket to be like, in
Of
case I'm
course.
alone, or even if I've no one to talk to at the party, I'm going to act like
Yeah,
I
it doesn't
need-
look like I'm alone because I'm on my phone.
But
Yeah,
watching someone who isn't a phone person, like obviously an older man, just sit there is like so much more sad.
Heartbreaking, yes.
It's like so much more
You're
like,
like-
oh my gosh, there's a puppy in the corner that's just whimpering. You're like, oh, is he okay?
No,
He's just sitting there,
legitimately,
like,
it's like party, and then out of nowhere they
just-
shoot to Charles L.
It's like,
and my heart dropped into my stomach, and I was like,
oh my god,
was like, no,
yeah, it's like someone save Charles.
oh my gosh. Okay, we're gonna talk about Charles L. because
Yeah.
this was another. I'm crying through the Jonathan conversation and his crowning, and then we go to the Charles L. conversation, and the tears continue to just
Yes.
absolutely flow because of who this man is.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get into that, let's take another quick pause. Family, I live for fall rituals, okay? Crisp walks, scarf thrift store shopping, spooky movies. Maybe you're like Jack and you have a cannonball ritual during the fall. Who knows? I don't know what you do with your life. But one ritual that deserves to be added to your fall priorities: daily hydration and energy from Liquid IV. You know we love our Liquid IV, but check this out. Liquid IV Hydration Multiplier Plus Energy delivers 100 milligrams of natural caffeine plus 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drinks, so you can accomplish all the things you want and need to. And they've combined their popular peach flavor with the highly requested blackberry flavor to awaken your senses and keep you coming back for more. It is so delicious, oh so hydrating, oh so energizing. Tear, pour, live more. 1 stick plus 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone. Evan is currently obsessed with the Liquid IV hydration plus energy business. Okay.
Yes, it's amazing. The hydration multiplier plus energy delivers energy comparable to 1 to 2 cups of coffee through about 100 milligrams of naturally occurring caffeine. I'm telling you this. All-in-one formula provides mind and body energy plus hydration that leaves you feeling focused, alert, and ready to take on anything. I got my delicious blackberry peach flavor right here.
Yes, that plus energy is just so incredible. I've got my Ouzo pineapple flavor right here. It's my current fave, but honestly, try all their different flavors because they're all delicious and they make me want to drink them because they're so yummy. So I'm always hydrated. So thank you so much, Liquid IV, because I needed that hydration, okay? Again, we're talking 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drinks, 8 essential vitamins and nutrients, and always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. I always have Liquid IV packets on me, whether that be in my purse, in my glove compartment. I pass them out to my friends constantly when we're having a night out. They love me. They are so grateful for it. Okay, I keep them in my suitcase. I keep them everywhere. Liquid IV is out there saving the day. Start a new fall ritual with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code MOMDAD at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code MOMDAD at liquidiv.com. Gonna drink a little drink now. So hydrating, so energized.
Let's go.
Thank you, Liquid IV. Okay, back to Charles L. So we see him sitting on the bleachers and we hear him say that he can isolate because of sorrow, sometimes because of the loss of his wife. Oh my gosh. And then he's in the library with Joan and he starts telling Joan about his wife, how they only ever dated each other, how that was his one and only love, and how they had an incredible marriage. He's like, we were so good. And then he was on a business trip and she was with him and she had a brain aneurysm. And it was so tragic. But man, you just feel, I was getting so emotional and crying watching it because it's like you feel how much he loved that woman so much. Like
Absolutely.
you just feel the how much he adores his wife. He talks about then how his daughters were like, it's okay to be sad, but like you need to now go
Right.
out and have fun. And Joan notes that she's like, men can have a real hard time accessing their emotions and vulnerability, but something about Charles L is that he is so willing to go there. And that's the thing about a handful of these guys that I think is making this season already so powerful and delightful to watch, just like how Jonathan was. Charles L is so willing to be so vulnerable and access those emotions
big time
and really talk about hard things. But then when he was saying, he's like, I think today's the happiest day I've had since my wife passed away. And then they're going around playing Truth or Dare, playing basketball, dancing, and I'm just a mess.
Yes.
Like, regardless of what happens between Joan and Charles L, and I don't know if I see like a chemistry moving forward with them necessarily, but the fact of the matter is I feel like this opened for him friendships, fun, and like got him out of that space where it's okay to obviously grieve however long you need to, but like now he's letting himself have fun.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think this was what Charles L needed. I'm going to start crying again. Charles L needed to like go out and like meet people and have fun. And then when he's on the phone with his daughter and he's just like,
hi, Sophia, this is your dad. She's like, yeah, I know, Dad. It's your number. You know what I mean? Like, it's so funny.
I love how dads do that. It's such a dad thing to be like, it's your father. It's like, yeah, I could tell. I know
your name saved on my phone.
Well, it was probably a producer's phone, but it's more like, I know your voice, Dad. Like, you're my dad.
The producer just texted me and said he's going to be calling in 5 minutes. I know. Like, it's, hi, this is your father. It's like, we know. He's so cute.
But when she just said, she was just like, oh my gosh, Dad, like, it sounds like you're getting what you needed. And he's just having a ball.
So sweet.
Love him
just
so
absolute
much.
Heartwarming material there.
And we had some moments in between that too where we heard about Gary being Tina Turner's godson, which, by the way, I want that full conversation. She's like, what was Tina Turner like? And he's like, oh, nothing like what you saw on...
But that was it.
And I'm like, I want to know.
Yeah,
I'm like, I want to hear about Tina Turner. Like,
Epic.
I want to know. Hopefully he does like an interview or something because I want the details. Then we find out confirmation Bob is talking about his gay daughter, and I was like, yes. When we saw the videos before, I was talking about, I was like, I think we've got some queer kids here, and I think that is why we were getting this great energy from some of these men, because we have some fathers like Jordan, like Bob, who are dads, who are allies, who love and accept their children. And when Bob was saying, they cut to him and he's like, yeah, nowadays it's come Thanksgiving and it's Dr. Bob and 27 lesbians.
Yeah, he said something like, it's
yes,
Dr. Bob and the Home for Wayward Lesbians or something. Like, that was so funny to think, like, all, you know, like, it's like showing up with all the friends and he's like just there single chilling and he's just basically like taking care of everybody. It was just very cute and very sweet.
I just lived when I was just like, when we heard, because again, there is just so little damn representation on this show for the queer community at all. When I heard on the Golden Bachelorette stage 27 lesbians, I was doing the wave. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, Dr. Bob. We love you, Dr.
so sweet.
Bob. Oh my gosh.
And I know he got kicked off at the end, but man, he's a precious soul.
He really is.
His precious, you know, his face just says like, welcome.
Well, I mean, the man got struck by lightning and came back to us.
Gosh.
Insane. Oh my
Jeez,
God.
I forgot about that, to be honest with you. That was insane.
But then the night came to a close. Jonathan is crowned as prom king.
Yep.
Taylor Dane starts singing again. Jordan's sweating.
Jordan, I really hope my dating past doesn't come out or something. He's like, oh, one of my exes is here. Great.
No, I bet it was just a one lovely date.
It was
and
very
they had a
sweet.
lovely time together.
Very funny though.
So next up we have the first one-on-one date of the entire season, and that date is given to Chock. They go to Disneyland, and this man, okay, so just overall, Chock is giving to me, I know he's not this, but he is full news reporter. This man is a news reporter.
News reporter meets politician.
Yes.
Like, even at one point in time at the end of the episode when Jack was leaving, he went like this to Jack. Double thumbs up. Like he was looking at the crowd and that he was like, vote for me. Like he has like news reporter meets CEO meets politician, just like, welcome.
During his ITMs, he was like leaning in a way where it was about to be like, well, that's Chock at 9 a.m. out.
Yeah,
like,
Chock at you.
Chock
Back
at
to
ya.
you at the studio. Like, he was very serious, professional, fun, nice guy, but also very like put together.
It just gives big news reporter to me
Yes.
very much. For the
voice.
The very first time when he came out with the soup, I had written down that he was giving me kind of a Winnie the Pooh voice.
Definitely not.
Which is absolutely wrong. I don't know what I heard at first.
Definitely not.
But he is news reporter voice. He's
Yes.
like, I am here. Joan is mine.
Even later, he's like, "You're a pretty lady."
You are
You know what I
one
mean? Just the way he says it
pretty
is
lady.
like, wow.
So I was looking up Chock on, because here, okay, overall, Chock seems like a lovely man.
Yeah.
Okay. I had said in last episode, he's giving me probably the most competitive guy there. And I think I still stand by that, because even before they announced who was going to get the one-on-one date, he was in the ITMs. The way he was talking about it was very much like,
I want this.
I need this.
Yeah.
I want this. But in a way where, you know, he's ready to like run the gauntlet type thing. And I do think that guys with Chock's mindset can go really far in this, because again, he seems like a very nice man who's not making enemies in the house, but not necessarily here to make friends.
He's not focused on just the friendships.
Yeah, so it's very much like, I see the prize at the end of this and I'm going to go full throttle for that. But I did end up looking up Chock on Instagram, because he's an interesting man to me. I'm kind of like, you know, I'm like, he seems like a very nice guy, but he is very, very serious. He's got this news reporter type energy. And so I found on Instagram, number one, Chock is, look at this man in the gym. This man is in his 60s, and Chock is like giving gym bro.
First of all, the videos are like edited like he's an influencer. Kind of. It's like there's like super cuts.
Well, he posted to himself making his Chock and noodle soup. So Chock,
he's trying to influence right now.
Chock is in influencer mode, and him in the gym as well. Like, I mean,
he's
man
doing thirst traps.
He's
I cook, I clean, I work out.
He's gym bro vibes for sure. You know, God, it's wild. It's very
Rise and
impressive. Yeah, he rise and grind.
Lincoln build.
And I think that's what I'm getting is Lincoln build a little bit. Also, just side note, I saw this photo of him. He posted a photo of when 40 years ago. So he was in his 20s. And now I'm also connecting this. I'm going to show you him. Chock is obviously a very handsome man. Chock in his 20s might be one of the best looking men I've ever seen in my life. Okay.
Yeah. He looks like a actor in the 50s.
Like a very famous movie star.
He does. Good for him.
This is one of the best looking men I've seen ever. Okay. Which is now, it was just it was the intel that I needed a little bit, because I'm trying to read him, and he kept saying too, he was like, what I need to learn how to do is let go and have fun.
Yeah.
Because he was hard for me to read, because he is very tight.
Yes.
You know, he was obviously enjoying being with Joan, trying to have fun, but there is this news reporter tightness. And I'm like, who is Chock? So when I'm looking back at these photos, I'm like, okay, so obviously he's been gorged for forever.
Right.
Like, he's always been this very handsome man. He is kind of rise and grind energy. He's like kind of influencer mode. So that's kind of what I'm processing with Chock a little bit. There was a moment when they were at Disneyland that made me laugh so hard. Number one, he smelt her hair when they hugged.
Yeah.
He got
Definitely.
a big whiff.
Yeah.
He got a big whiff of her hair. And at one point, she was like, they were on the Dumbo ride. And she was like, when was the last time you were on a ride? And he said, well, I did a helicopter ride over Lake Tahoe, and it was
that was
gorgeous.
not the question, but I know what you're trying to do there. You know what I mean? That's
I was like,
what was the last time you were on a ride? Well, last time I was in my Maserati and I hit it all the way. I felt like I was on a roller coaster.
And I hit 90 mph.
Yeah. I felt like I was on a roller coaster when I flew my private jet to Spain.
That made me giggle. I was like, okay, Chock, you're throwing in, because in the last conversation you were throwing in the safaris. We're flexing.
We're doing a slight flex.
So I'm thinking what I'm getting from Chock is, I'm not sure if Chock is the guy who's always going to be flexing, if he's kind of the rise and grind bro, or if in his nerves, a way that he wants to impress her is by being like, here are the things I've done.
Right.
You know, so that's what I'm trying to.
Yeah, I just didn't see my thing with him was like seems like a great guy, seemed like really solid, responsible dude. He talked about how he was had to be the rock for his family, and so he's been kind of like not really loose and childlike. That was the whole thing about going to Disneyland that meant something. It was like I'm able to kind of access my childhood again.
And she wanted to see if he could have fun. She was like, I saw his serious side. I need to see if he can have fun.
And I do think he can have fun, but I will say he's a serious guy.
He's a serious
character. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I'm not seeing a lot of laughter. I'm not seeing a lot of like their belly laughing and holding each other. I'm seeing a little bit like, well, this churro's fantastic. I'm crazy sometimes. I'll have a second bowl of ice cream. So he's kind of like, he's a serious guy. So it'll be interesting to see kind of if they could work out, like, is she the fun one and he's a little bit more the serious one? Sometimes that works too. It just depends.
Well, I was going to say, something that I noted in this episode and you and I were talking about, and I love it. I'm like, Joan is chatty.
Chatty, dude.
She is a talker.
She talks nonstop. It's funny. You don't really clock it. And then you said it and I was like, I'm going to listen to this.
No.
And you're like, oh, she said,
and I live for that because I love my chatty queens.
Yeah.
And I had been thinking before, I'm like, she didn't hit me that way on the Golden Bachelor. Right. But if you note when you're watching her, she's not like a rambunctious person. Right. So it might not hit you at first when you're watching.
She's not like talking shit.
No. But also she's not like, like all over the place, right. Like big personality. She's a little more like laid back. But if you watch, she is always chatting.
Always chatting.
Always the questions, always the examples, always chatting. She's a great conversationalist and she likes to talk. And so I was thinking at first, I was like, I don't know if I would see her and Chock because he just is a kind of a serious character.
But some people kind of like to be talked at.
But what I was going to say is Joan might end up working well with a guy who actually is kind of quieter and more serious because
give her space to chat.
She is chatty.
Yeah. 100%.
So I was like, okay, because at first I was like, I don't see it. But I'm like, you know what? It might end up being, whether it be Chock or someone else who's a little more, I love my Jordan. I'm like, at least as of right now, Jordan can go back on his heels a little bit. Or I'm like, maybe.
Jordan's also chill. He's very chill, but he's also a good conversationalist. So it's like a really.
A beautiful.
Yeah, my
mix.
thing just comes down to chemistry with them.
Yeah.
It's like, seems like a great fit. Seems like they probably have similar values and similar things they want in life, whatever. But at the same time, he just is a little stiff. He's a little serious. She hits me as someone who needs a little bit more playful energy in her life.
I wasn't getting crazy chemistry from them.
But they're, them talking at dinner about everything they've been through. That was like when he talked about his wife and he talked about going through that and opening up about that. And then she was basically like, my story's almost identical to yours. Definitely, if you've been through something like that so identically, there's gonna be a connection there, and it'd be like, hey, you'll be able to comfort me, you'll be able to understand if we're together, and then I'm having moments where I miss my ex. We're gonna be able to comfort each other and love each other through that, So I thought that was powerful. It'll just be interesting to know, like, chemistry wise outside of that conversation, how it'll go.
Yes, I mean, I completely agree. When you have that similar experience, of course there's going to be a safety there. I want to talk more about their dinner conversation because I do have a couple more thoughts about that, but let's take one more quick pause. Family, this message is sponsored by Greenlight. Okay, family, I am loving these Goldens and loving watching them talk about their kids and their grandkids. It's so special. And if you're a parent / caretaker, you know that as your kids get older, some things about parenting get easier. Like, for example, as my daughter has gotten older, she is able to visualize and communicate exactly the vision she has for her Halloween costume. Like this year, for example, she wants to be a piece of cheese. And now she's able to communicate her vision with me as she's gotten older of what exact type of cheese, what the cheese costume will look like, piece of cheese, fully visualized, fully realized, we can have this conversation. So, that part of parenting has gotten easier, but others do not, like having the conversation about money. The fact is, kids won't really know how to manage their money until they're actually in charge of it. That's where Greenlight can help. We love Greenlight. Greenlight is a debit card and money app made for families. Parents can send money to their kids and keep an eye on kids' spendings and saving while kids and teens build money confidence and lifelong financial literacy skills. I wish that I had this growing up because as an adult, Truth of the matter is, I really struggle with financial literacy because I didn't learn about it when I was younger. And so now I'm having a harder time understanding it. I wish that I had Greenlight, and that's why Greenlight is truly amazing.
Yeah, with the Greenlight app, kids learn how to save, invest, and spend wisely thanks to games that teach money, skills in a fun, accessible way. And the Greenlight app also includes a chores feature where you can set up a one-time or reoccurring chores customized to your family's needs and rewards kids with allowance for a job well done.
It really is incredible. We've seen a lot of learning and growth since using the Greenlight app, and we are really grateful for it. Millions of parents and kids are learning about money on Greenlight. It's the easy, convenient way for parents to raise financially smart kids and families to navigate life together. Sign up for Greenlight today and get your first month free when you go to greenlight.com/momdad. That's greenlight.com/momdad to try Greenlight for free. Greenlight.com/momdad. Couldn't recommend it more. I'm telling you, we've seen big learning shifts and growth. Greenlight.com/momdad. Okay, back to Chock's one-on-one. So during the night portion, quick side note. Okay, I want this date. The Disneyland date. You know,
Yeah.
I live for.
And then the night portion was,
And then the night portion where they go to the 21 Royal dinner.
which is like the like
exclusive Disney
special
dinner. And they have her Cinderella moment.
Yeah.
And
He's in a
again,
tux.
number 5 of me crying because I was thinking about how Joan at 61 is having her Cinderella moment. I'm gonna start crying again.
Yeah.
Like that to me, that's why that's why I love these golden versions so much. Especially, not to be dramatic, but as we get older, you know, we're later 30s at this point, and you start to kind of think about like, you know, what's to come. Like, did I live all those glorious moments? Are those past? And to think about,
or are those things only for young people, or like whatever? Yeah,
exactly. And to think like, here's this moment where Joan is 61 and she's coming down the stairs in her literal Cinderella gown, and it's amazing.
Epic. It was beautiful.
It
stunning,
really,
chills. You know, a lot of those dates sometimes feel a little bit like, oh, picnic in the woods, cool. They don't do this with this one. No. I love this. Like, they're putting the budget into it. They're putting care, creativity.
Yeah. We even had a dream is a wish your heart makes. I'm like,
beautiful.
Oh, I'm a mess.
Stunning.
Another thing that Joan brought up that I was thinking about, just that we've actually been talking about a lot as a couple who's been together for, 18 plus years here. She was talking about how what's really important to her, and she mentioned it with Chock, where she was like, okay, Chock, I see your serious side. I want to know if you can have fun. She said, because when you hit a certain age, once, there's, whether it be careers, kids, aging, grandkids, I mean, all these things, it can make all of us really serious because, we got business to attend to, and you can kind of get in this serious zone. And she's like, I want to know who I can have fun with in life, because what is life except to experience those moments of joy, throughout it all. And, I loved that conversation is happening, because you and I have been talking about that lately. We've kind of been in a zone where it's been like super busy with life and parenting and all this. And it's been like that for the past like year, 2 years, like financial stuff and, purchasing stuff. It just gets stressful and serious.
Yes.
And you can lose each other in that because you become like business, serious, whatever, instead of really being intentional about with your partner or your friends or your children experiencing that childlike joy.
Yeah, agreed.
And like soaking up life and fun in the moments, and
100%.
being really intentional about that. And so I love that Joan is going into this season really looking for that, and that it's not like, I'm not looking for, it's not even like she's been talking about looking for someone who's serious about like getting married.
No.
It's like, no, I'm looking for somebody who's going to have fun with me.
Yeah. Because there's also a level too. It's like, man,
let's
if you're
have
mid
fun
60s,
together.
getting married's a thing, but you're also like, I don't know. If I was in my mid 60s, I wouldn't feel like tying of the knot
right.
would be the most important thing. It would be like, no, the next 10 years of my life,
yeah,
how quality they're going to be. Am I going to have a love that's connected? Do I feel excited? Do I kind of, rejuvenate again? You know what I mean? And I think that's what she's looking for.
Yeah. And it also then hits me too. It's not even necessarily, maybe I'm, speaking for her too much here, but I'm not even hearing her being like a love where I'm like, oh yeah, how hot is he?
Right.
Like it is really like, who am I going to have fun with?
Yes.
Who am I going to have fun conversation
Enjoy
with and
my life
experience joy with and have those, those fun rides in the car together and travel together. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought that really touched me.
Yes.
And I've been thinking about that a lot
It was
lately.
magical.
But yeah, so they're having the conversation. She does note that Chock is a gentleman, and she gets emotional.
Yeah.
She said her dad was a gentleman, and she misses her dad a lot. So that might be a big connect with her, that he is such a gentleman. But yeah, that's when he gives us, like you were saying, his background. Married with 2 kids. He was married with 2 kids. Married for 12 years, didn't work out.
Yeah.
And then he met Kathy. They were engaged together for 9 years, and then she got brain cancer, I believe. And they had that moment together where they could understand each other. And she was talking about how she's felt anxious since John left. How does Chock feel?
Yeah.
And they were able to have like a really open, vulnerable conversation. Now, something I did note, and obviously everyone processes things differently. So I'm not trying to come for how someone processes something. But he did say that when Kathy, his fiance, passed away, it was the only time he's ever shown vulnerability and cried and broken down.
Interesting.
And that's a big kind of note for me, because again, everyone can be who they are, right?
Of course.
But there is a level of okay, you're at an advanced age and something I can't even imagine unbelievably horrific happens to you, and that is one of the first times that you are being vulnerable and breaking down. That's just a note to me, if I'm Joan, a little bit okay, in my future partner, do I want someone who's going to be vulnerable and be willing to break down and have those conversations with me? Because Chock might be someone who really has his guard up, and that is kind of what I'm getting from him.
Almost like he prides himself on not showing emotion.
A little bit. Yeah, that's
mean?
kind of what I got from that. So that was just a little side note that I had.
Hence the serious dude vibes.
Yeah, for sure. And then at the wrap of this, she gives him the rose. There's the fireworks, they kiss, but she tells him that he makes her feel safe.
Yeah.
Which is what she said to Keith when she gave him the first impression
yes.
rose. So I'm going to say this is her number one sense of importance.
Yes.
We're talking about the fun, but actually, so that's her big thing, her big tagline. But it seems like really what is number one sense of importance to Joan is feeling safe. John, her husband, must have made her feel so safe, and she's talked about that
or
she wants
maybe
a man.
It's the fact that he passed.
Sure.
Made her feel unsafe. Not because of him, but just more
no, of course.
Wait, I have my whole life, and now all of a sudden it's gone. I feel unprotected. I feel not safe. I feel full of what is my life going to look like? I don't want to have a bunch of dates. I don't want to be heartbroken. I want someone who's going to make me feel safe. You know what I mean? So I wonder if it's multiple layers.
But she also mentioned that, I believe, in the first episode where she was he made her feel incredibly safe.
So
I think she's looking for an energy of someone who's going to make her feel
solid and
she's
safe. Looking for someone solid.
Yeah, which I can relate to. I very much feel that way. I'm one of my favorite things about you is you make me feel very safe in who I am. I can kind of bounce all over the place and be whoever. Right. But you are a pretty steadfast individual where you're there. Right. If I'm having an absolute mental breakdown, a mentee B, you are there for me. If I'm having the best day ever, you are there. You're a steadfast person. And that seems to be a priority to her.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, so they end their date, and then we have group date number 3, which is with the rest of the men, which is a golden talent showcase. Immediately, Michael's head is in his hands. I believe in his bio, it said something like is terrified of talent shows.
Yes.
So this man is like, please God, no, don't put me on this. They put him on it.
Real quick, before you continue, I did think it was funny though that the next morning they showed all the guys like napping by the pool.
Oh my God.
And it's just so classic. Like old dads napping is just literally like when you think about dad, you just think about like a dad. I mean, you just think about like falling asleep in the lazy boy. You know what I mean? And that's what those guys were doing. They were all just like passed out somewhere. And it's just such a dad move to just be passed out somewhere.
Honestly,
not in bed.
they're probably
like in a chair, like leaning over. It's such a way.
like they're all probably very excited to be with Joan and to
Yeah.
spend time, but they probably are also loving the days off.
Yes.
Like on the days off
no
where
responsibilities.
where they can like, you know, these men probably, you know, they've got kids, they've got grandkids, some of them are still working to just, you know,
Just
they're
turn it
tired, they're
off.
older
Oh,
to lay
man.
in the sun.
Whenever
and
I
just
go on vacation or
snooze by the
something,
pool.
which has been years, but whenever there's like vacation energy going on, the first thing I feel is tired because it's like, oh my God, I don't have to think about anything.
They probably are living. They're like, no, I'm good. I don't need to go on the group
Yeah.
date. Like
Yeah,
I'm just
do I get to sleep more?
chilling by the
Just
pool,
made me laugh. Side note.
snoozing.
Because they
Oh,
were
it is.
sleeping like real, you know, like mouth open sleep. You know,
Oh,
it was
no. It was a
serious sleep. Yeah.
serious-
It wasn't nap. It was like, it was REM by the pool.
It's so true. So yes, the Golden Talent Showcase. Lonnie Love comes out to host and judge, which by the way, I love Lonnie Love so much. Lonnie Love is a regular guest on RuPaul's Drag Race, so you know I was like, it's Lonnie Love.
Yeah.
Anyway, just a side note. Normally the guest judges, it can be someone from The Bachelor. No
Right,
shade,
right.
sending
It's
our
generally
love.
that, yeah.
But, you know, not often someone comes out that I'm like a fan of,
Right,
and I'm like a
sure,
fan of
sure.
Lonnie Love. So
Yeah,
it's just
that's
like,
awesome.
Yes. So anywho, we find out the winner is going to get extra time with Joan tonight. This is a big one for Joan because she really stood out and got extra time with Jerry Gary Turner last season because she was really nervous about the talent show. And then she did her like poem letter and it was so funny and vulnerable and amazing. And she won. And that was like her big breakthrough.
Sure.
So this is important for her. And I love that she said too, she's like, just have fun. I want to see you have fun. Just a side note to all of the future contestants, like we say all the time, it's not about being the most talented. It's about just being the most down to be vulnerable and fun.
And clearly the older guys get this more than the young guys because the young guys are like, actually, I should have won because I am the most talented. And they're like, no, you're missing the whole point. You know what I mean?
The younger guys are like, I'm going to do 100 push-ups
Yeah,
and she's
and
going to
that is the
absolutely
most impressive.
lose her mind. And you're like, well, no, she appreciated the guy who kind of left it all out there on the stage
Right.
and was vulnerable and
Exactly.
silly or whatever. Greg goes up first. He does some stand-up. He's just like, can I get a chant for USA? It's actually untreated sleep apnea. He did a good job.
He did a great job.
You know what? I like Greg.
Yeah.
Greg's
like harmless.
for first episode, I was like, he gives me like the Colonel Sanders, like very like wealthy, whatever vibes. And then all of a sudden this episode,
he's getting paid $100 to do laundry. He's definitely not Colonel Sanders.
He's like, he doesn't have that KFC money.
No.
He just seems like a nice guy.
Yeah.
Like just a good, gentle man. Like
Just-
a gentle man. But he went up, he did a great job doing
did.
stand-up. He was brave. It's very brazen to choose to do stand-up.
But if you can do it, it's a great one.
Yeah, and he had good jokes.
Yeah, they were funny.
He had good jokes. Then Charles K comes out. He has Greg continue to stand up there, and Charles K, or CK as they're now referring to him, breaks a board a la martial arts. But as he's breaking the board and Greg is holding it, he knocks the goddamn wind out of Greg.
Greg is doing people's laundry, getting mocked for snoring, and getting punched in the chest during. I mean, he even said like something cracked for sure. Like the poor guy is just definitely not in the driver's seat of the group. He's definitely taking a beating here a little bit.
Poor Greg. Christopher does some yo-yo tricks. Gil, we see. Okay, I wanted to make a comment about Gil. We talked about it last episode, so if you haven't listened, go ahead and listen to last episode. We talk about Gil and Devin as well briefly. Gil has a restraining order currently out against him.
Yeah, like,
and then
what the
like
hell?
a court date coming up. So from what I'm aware of, the show has come out and said that I guess this restraining order coming from his ex-girlfriend, by the way. Okay, this is like very serious, scary stuff. That the show said that I guess maybe the restraining order came out after
The filming?
The filming.
Okay.
But here's the thing. Don't care. You know why? Because what about Devin? What about the Devin of it all?
Yeah.
Okay, that still happened. From what I'm aware of, still dead silence from the show. Still not addressing anything that happened with Devin. Still not an apology to Jen. Still not a conversation about how you're going to fix your casting process moving forward to make sure that the lead or other contestants are protected, or people who have experienced these individuals who are watching the show. Like, all of this, still no conversation. So, the show is now saying, well, it came after. Still don't care, because it's like, well, what about Devin? Okay. But the show, from what I'm aware of, said they were going to be now kind of editing Gil out of the show more.
Really?
But I'm sorry, we had a big segment with him at the end.
Yeah, no, it didn't seem like that at all.
So I don't know, like, what's going on?
I don't know.
So anyway, ABC, the continued demand of, like, say something. What are you going to do with this casting process to protect your leads, your contestants, etc.? Okay. And I don't know how long Gil's going to be on the show, but moving forward, we're just not going to talk about him.
Yeah. No.
So, there's a part with him later. I'm just not going to talk about him.
Yeah.
So we're editing Gil out of our recaps.
Oh, shit.
So.
The turntables.
Yeah. So, and just also and we've mentioned this before, but, like, in situations like this, just to anyone of our family who's listening who is a survivor, who has been a victim of things like this, like, we love you and we are so sorry. And when there are situations like this where there are people on the screen and the irresponsibility of, like, in casting and now the editing and all this, just sending our love to everybody. Yeah, just mind blowing, honestly. But next up we have Michael, who is very scared of this, but he delivers a poem. I thought he did a great job.
Great.
He's like, I can't offer talent, but I can offer sweet romance.
It was sweet. Yeah. It was just sweet, classic poem. There's always one or two of them.
He did a great job. Jack comes up with sock puppets.
Loved it. Nothing could be more just weird and random, just
so
like Jack.
bizarre.
And he's just so cute and hilarious. And sock puppets could not be more. And he's like, you gotta Google this one sock puppet person or something.
Also,
Like,
maybe
what?
I'm wrong and I have to rewatch, but I'm pretty sure, like, even how he put together the sock puppets and put them on was wrong. There were, like,
the eyes were on the outside.
The eyes were, like, there was one that, like, had eyes on the inside of its mouth. I was like, Jack, you have the sock on wrong. The eyes are on the inside of the mouth.
Yeah, and then he's like pushing someone else's. Like, you got to see this one guy with the sock puppets. He's great. Google it later. Like, that's his ITM, is talking about some other guy's sock puppet routine. It's hilarious.
We need Jack. I
know.
I fear that because he's gone so early, you know how...
Well, it might create some tension because, like, he was probably a little bit of, like, a relief for the guys.
Sure,
so we'll see.
But I'm thinking about, like, okay, we had Susan, who was the character that we loved and adored, but she stayed around for a long time. And because of that, now Susan is, like, a face in Bachelor Nation, doing the weddings, the interviews, all of this. I'm scared that because Jack left so early that he's not going to become that, and he needs to become that for Bachelor Nation.
Yeah, like he needs to marry them. Be like, freaking wedding.
Yeah,
freaking marry.
Someone get a camera and follow Jack around immediately and just start, like, maybe vlogging. Like, I need...
He's just a guy that always has a cocktail in his hand. He is just that guy. He's just good time Jack.
Okay, wait a second. Jack, please hear me out. Please start vlogging and doing food reviews. Please.
That'd be really good.
If Jack had
cooking show.
Had even not even a cooking show would be great, but that's gonna take a little more
much. But just, like, go to a place, grab a burger, review it.
Go do fast food reviews and sit in your car and do, like, a mukbang and review it and talk about it. Like, I would watch that.
Oh yeah,
religiously.
Oh yeah, it'd be amazing.
Like, I'm begging you.
Go do all the Chicago hot spots.
Also, Susan, like, please let us know if you're interested in Jack, because that's just true love waiting to happen.
Susan and Jack is insane.
This is true love waiting to happen.
Unreal.
Then we have Pascal, who comes out and does a 3-minute haircut on a mannequin. He is spitting the scissors in his hand.
Yeah.
Family, I want that haircut.
Haircut was sick.
It's like kind of my dream haircut right now. I've
Yeah.
been wanting to do that kind of like the long, like the
chopped up
lob, and then like
bangs.
the longer choppy bangs. Like he said, it's $175 haircut. This is not a cheap haircut,
Yeah.
people. This is an expensive haircut that he did in 3 minutes, but I want that haircut. Pascal, please.
Come on the show, cut it live.
Would you come on the show and cut my hair while we interview you? Please.
That'd be
Family,
awesome.
please bombard Pascal. Like, I want him to come on this show and cut my hair live. I also have so many questions for him. Like, we're getting a taste of Pascal. I need the history.
Yes.
I need the lore. I need everything about Pascal I need to
What's
know.
the Pascal Canon?
The canon is important.
Yes.
Okay? This man has important canon, and we need
it.
to find
We
out
need the
about
story.
it. Okay? And then also, Joan, she was like, Pascal can do a lot in 3 minutes.
Yeah, funny.
And I was like,
well played.
I think Joan is attracted to Pascal.
Well, I think that he represents something, which
Yeah.
is like, the Frenchman who wisps you away from your life. You know what I mean? And takes you on adventures. Like, he represents something. Now,
He's very sexy. Like
he's very sexy. He's very cool. He's young at heart. He's fast paced, rich lifestyle. It's exciting.
Yeah, he's very exciting. He's
Someone you like have a, romantic rendezvous with. I don't know if they're
Yeah.
going to be like married, but I'm just saying like
But I think that
they have a summer romance.
I think though she's a little taken by Pascal.
Yeah, I
I
think
don't
it's
get the
exciting.
vibe from her that she's just like, oh, he's funny and like he said, high maintenance and da-da-da. I feel like she's always kind of like, oh, Pascal.
Right.
I'm like,
We'll see.
all right,
We'll see.
We'll see. Then we have Kim. Now, Kim started this group date by saying he feels good because he thought there might be a talent show, so he has prepared a song to sing. Now, when he said that, family, I assumed that he had chosen a famous song.
Sure. A My Way version 2 or something.
Yes, My Way Part 2, a la Jack. I thought he was going to do something like that. And when he starts singing and has the cue cards, I'm like, this is going to be a song that he memorized that's someone else's song. No. Kim sang a cappella an original song called Rainbow's End. I believe he titled it. And now I want to say this to you, family. Was I wildly uncomfortable? 100%. Am I wildly impressed by someone having the balls to write a song and sing it a cappella into someone's eyes? Singing an original song a cappella, like not knowing, you have to be confident in your melody. You know what I mean? And he had his melody down, and it was an a cappella original.
Yeah.
I don't know many greats, many world famous singers who would dare do such a thing, and he did it.
I'm a little confused. I feel like this is a talent show, not a risk show. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
some of these were just risk shows. Like it was
Yes.
like, he's not a songwriter.
No.
He's not a singer.
No.
He's not a lyricist. So it's like, why are you doing this weird experience for her? Like, it's no hate. It's just more like, it's like if I were to just get up on stage and just like take my clothes off and be naked. And it's like, that's not a talent. That's just literally like doing something crazy. You know what I mean?
Where's this going?
But I'm just saying, writing a song when you've never written a song in your life is not a talent show. That's just doing something nuts and singing it to their face 2 feet away. That's just nuts, Kim. I love you, but that's just crazy town. And it's like just looking at someone and being like singing an original right into their face is like
It's wild behavior.
nightmare fuel for me. But I appreciate the absolute balls on this guy to do that. It's crazy.
It's absolutely wild. And the people loved it. Everyone was very touched by the brazenness that was
A little
Kim.
much for me, but
I was uncomfortable. In fact, when he started singing at first, he sang, "At the end of every rainbow, there's a place where dreams come true." And I paused it and I Googled immediately
You're like,
before
is
even
that-
hearing the end, because I was like, is this a song?
sounds kind of like
I was just like
Wizard of Oz or something.
yeah, I was like, what is this? And then, of course,
and
I
it said
started
no
playing
original
it again.
by Kim. And you're like, what?
And I was like, what? And then I started playing it. And then, of course, he was just like talking about her journey. And then he's like, whether we'll be friends
Yeah, he
or
didn't
whatever.
rhyme randomly too, so it would just throw you off.
And I was
you
also
know?
surprised that like we decided to just by choice take the potential friend route instead
Yeah.
of just keep it romantic.
If you friend zone me, that's okay. It's just like, what? It was just random to me. Like, if anything, like he's a like a retired sea captain. He could have like pulled out a map and be like, this is how you think, but this is the coordinates to your heart. You know, like done something corny.
I like that. Oh yeah, you're right. You're like I'm sure the man knows how to use a compass like nobody's
sure
business.
There's some interesting sea knowledge.
Oh, you know what? First of all, we could have talked about sea law, which I'm always very curious about the maritime law.
Yeah, but instead it was like, here, let me write a song for you. I don't know.
I bet he can do some unbelievable knots.
Exactly. He could have tied a knot into a heart and then given it to her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But instead it's like,
he could have gone in.
You could be my friend or you could be my girlfriend and that would be cool and we could get married tonight. What do you think about my song? It's like, I don't know,
the way you're
dude.
singing it is giving Will Ferrell.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, it's like, what? It's so random, but whatever.
Yeah, no, it was a choice. And I do feel like, yeah, if he would dress up in his naval garb,
exactly,
and done the knots, I feel like people would have
been a
loved
vibe.
That too. But then finally we had Dan. Now Dan let everybody know in ITMs before he went up that he has these tremors, which are like familial and maybe genetic, where his hands are shaking and he was really nervous. He's like, oh my God, the limo was hard enough as it was the exit because I was shaking, let alone getting up and doing this talent show. Now Dan, this man crushed this talent show.
It was really good.
He came up and was being not only vulnerable, but also funny and charming.
Mm-hmm.
And he brings up the ribbons and he's just like, this is serious business, everybody. I've been practicing for 2 minutes. Like, he was funny. And then he made mention, he's like, I'm not nervous. It's because I have these tremors. And so I saw these ribbons and I thought, perfect. And then he starts ribbon dancing around, which, you know, not to stereotype the men, but the men can be very concerned with appearing a certain way and not being silly. And this man with these ribbon dancing ritual was just going for it. And he was being funny and silly and charming and loose and just like brought relaxation and joy. And
everyone, and you could tell it meant a lot to everybody because all the guys were talking too. They were like, "Wow, this guy's."
I love that.
Open and honest and vulnerable. It's beautiful.
Christopher was like, Dan's vulnerability is off the charts, and he ended up winning the talent show. Kim was a little devote. About it.
But that's that thing where, you know, that's
serious.
But it's like, you thought you were going to win off? I mean, no offense, but Pascal's was the most impressive. He cut a full head of hair in 3 minutes. It was incredible. If we're talking skill alone,
Pascal won.
No one touched Pascal.
True.
So I don't know. For me to get offended about, it's you know, there's always one.
Yeah, but he was.
I'm being over the top about.
No, but I'm saying he was polite about it. He wasn't being like oh my God,
exactly,
screw this guy. He was pretty devout about it. He was feeling a little sad. But that means that Dan got to spend extra time with Joan. The theater arts department where they were at just made the stage an absolutely gorgeous setting for them. The city lights, the trees. I was like, hell yes, props department at this theater.
Yes.
Absolutely
As
crushing
a theater family, we noticed
As a theater family, we noticed you and we appreciate you. I think it was called Hill Street, I believe. I have to double check, but shout out to whoever was doing that props department. Maybe it was just the production of The Bachelor, but whoever did it. And I love it.
Well done.
Cute little theater. Mm-hmm. Very cute little theater.
Very cute.
Okay. Family. I love Dan.
Oh, yeah.
I love this man with every fiber of my soul. And I looked at Evan afterwards and I said, this is the guy who, if my mom brought this man home, I know mom's looking for you, Pablo, and I'm sure you're amazing. But if my mom brought home someone like Dan, I couldn't feel more at peace and overjoyed.
Yeah.
Because Dan, first of all, the way he looks at her and is so invested. Yeah. He's like in your soul when he looks at you, and just there's like this lightness about him. But then he shares with her that he had these health issues. I think in 2015, he's diabetic and every organ started failing, which is so wild. And his doctor told him he had 6 months to live. He ended up, thank goodness, getting the right doctors, got himself healthy. But he was willing to share about his health journey, which was so like traumatizing and intense, and share about what it's done for him, which is like given him this spark and joy in life to really appreciate it and the emotions. And he's like, also, I have way more fun and I laugh more now. He was willing to do that. But on top of it, what really struck me about Dan sharing that is that he then mentioned to her, he's like, I've been cautious about dating because of it. And I want to share it with you because it might be something that comes up and I don't want you to essentially feel pressure. And the fact that Dan shared that with someone who, like Joan, has been in a situation where the love of her life died from an illness, I think goes to show who Dan is. Like the acknowledgement of, obviously, like, Dan cannot help the fact, bless him, that he is diabetic and has gone through all this. Like, it's horrible. But he's like present enough to be like, Joan's walked through the loss. I need to share and not make her then feel pressure. I need her to know that if she's with me, it might come with a potential loss of me or illness. And she's gone through that. And that to me was really powerful and really showed a lot about Dan.
Yeah.
He's just...
Yeah, he's a special dude for sure. I think, I don't know, but it does seem like when you go through stuff like that, when like your life was almost gone. I mean, and now you have kind of life again.
For life, yeah.
The way he looked at her, the way that he was engaged, the way that he was respectful, kind, everything. It just seems like a guy who's seen the value of life and then was living it that way. You know what I mean? Like that you can only
100%.
maybe truly experience this if you've been there.
Yeah.
Where you've been given a second chance, per se. He acts like the guy who has a second chance at life.
He's amazing.
Yeah, he's amazing.
And then she gives him the rose, and then a string quartet pops out, right?
Yeah.
And the moment I was like, that just hit me straight in the heart, was as soon as they saw the string quartet pop out, he said, "Do we get to dance?"
Yeah.
I don't know what that was, but it hit me in a way where I was like, it wasn't like, okay, they're being told by production, get up and dance. He was like, do we get to?
Right. It was like...
And he took her into his arms, and he was holding her. His eyes were closed the entire
time. He said,
time.
you fit well. Or you fit perfect or something.
Oh my God. He's like, we fit well together.
And I loved what she said after. She said, after tonight, when I'm seeing him around, I'm not going to look at him the same anymore. Like, things are different between us. Which I thought was powerful. And
his eyes closed the entire time when he was just holding her. I was a mess, family.
He was soaking it in.
I was a mess. Like it felt like he was like every second he was soaking in. And I just think, and the guys we were talking to when he went up on stage, that like the whole audience was like, oh my God, he's so cute. Yeah. He is a handsome, kind.
He looks so young too. Like looks amazing.
He's just, and then he's the one who had his adopted daughter.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
No, he's a precious person.
Me, he might be like a personal fave for sure. He's the guy who I'd be like, I want my mom with this man.
Whatever the opposite of a red flag is this guy.
Walking green flag for sure. Well, then back at the mansion, we have the barbecue day on the pool deck, which we've obviously talked about.
Yeah.
Jack's
epic,
iconic trolling of the burgers, his
cocktails,
the consumption of cocktails turned into the jumping off with the cannonballs. Oh God, he will be missed. But Jonah has some moments with a few of the gentlemen. She has a cute moment with Jordan. Talking about how him and his youngest are super like attached at the hip, and they have a sweet conversation. Jordan, though, in his like dating experience, I feel you can tell he's the one who's had some of those Taylor Dane celebrity experiences, because he right away says, he's like, I still feel nervous, but we're at level 1. He's a realist. He's not like, this is my woman and everybody like it's gonna be that. He's like, no, I'm really enjoying getting to know her. Like,
yep.
I'm first getting to know her. We've peeled back the onion a little bit, which I love, by the way. People who are kind of like, even on this show, meet the person and in these initial conversations are like, we're getting to know each other. We're at level 1. That to me shows a not love bombing energy.
Oh,
This is a realist. This is somebody who's enjoying getting to know this person. And I like that energy.
He's very calm and confident.
Yes.
There's a lot of like, I'm not stressed about this. I know what I'm doing here. but not in a cocky way, just like in a very
Yes.
calm. Like he's not.
He says he's nervous, though. You can tell he is
Yeah, he's
nervous.
nervous, but he's also just very like, you can just tell he's a confident guy.
Yeah. Love you, Jordan. We talked about Jack and Pascal. Then Kim has a sweet moment with her where he shows the picture of his late wife and has then the picture of Olivia, his granddaughter. And it talks about for her 8th birthday, he gave her the letter from his late wife, her grandmother. And he said this, which I loved. He said that he understands that Joan is still in love with her husband, and she understands that he is still in love with his wife.
Yes. Powerful.
And that made me start crying because then I was thinking about me and you.
Yeah.
And not to get dark, but I was thinking about, oh my God, if one day one of us lost the other, it's like, you're my forever love.
Yeah.
And like the idea, sorry, this just got dark. I'm going to start sobbing. But like, if God forbid something were to happen, like, and there would be someone else and that came along, it's like that person would have to know that I will forever be in love with you. You know what I mean? Like that's always going to be the case. And it's going to be really a special person, a specific person to like understand that will always be like, I can love this next person, but like, you have to know, like, I will always be in love with Evan. Like that's, you know.
Although it's interesting, I do wonder like if she's looking for fresh or relatable. That's what I'm really interested in.
Oh, with her specifically?
Yeah, with just how this goes. You know what I mean? It's like the Jonathans, the Jordans, you know, the Pascals, you know, a lot of these guys who don't have the traumatic history in regards to their partner. And then there's like a handful that do. Yeah. And it's and powerful and connecting and all those things. I just wonder
what she's looking for.
It's like, do I want to totally relate and have this deep, intense connection through this thing? Or do I kind of already have that myself and I kind of want to just pave a new path? I don't know. It's interesting.
No, it's interesting. That's true.
Totally valid either way. It's just very interesting to know, like, what is she going to be into? What's going to pull her?
No,
is the escape the thoughts or be in it with the person?
Yeah,
I don't know.
To be able to conversate. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't quite. My initial thought is I think she's going to want to connect.
Yeah, it seems like they're putting a lot of emphasis on the guys who have the stories.
And she seems to be commenting about that. And
Again, but the other guys haven't had a chance yet. We've had like multiple kind of moments with guys who have had this. Let's see the dates with you know, Jordan, Pascal, like all these guys. Let's see what happens. Let's see if it brings out a different side of her. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, then that's true. It's true. Then we have Gary.
Yeah, just this.
I love Gary.
I just wrote down, I want whatever he has. He looks at life like it's the biggest gift every day. I mean, when she gave him the picture of them together, which I low-key was kind of felt bad for him because I thought she was going to go get a rose. No. And she's like, I'll be right back. And he's like, all right. And he's like, here's a picture.
But that feels even more special.
Sure,
it's like,
but he didn't get a rose. So there's a little bit of okay.
But he did ultimately get a rose.
He did.
He didn't go home, thank God.
He did. But there was a little bit of like, sure. But the way he held it, it was like he was 10 years old and his sports idol gave him his autograph.
I know.
In 1946. I know. Like it was literally like the center of his universe.
No, in ITMs he kept going, who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Who
me?
would have thought? I'm like,
me, and like it was just like, what? Oh. Like his
no,
joy
he is special.
incredible.
Now I will tell you two things. Number one, he mentioned coaching his grandkids teams.
Epic.
And I'm like, whomst is this perfect grandfather who is out here not being the dad coaching the sports teams, being the grandpa coaching sports teams?
Epic.
An incredible grandfather. But she gave some the photo from prom, and it was giving Ellen. Remember Gary Turner gave Ellen the special picture when they did the wedding photo shoot, and he gave it to Ellen.
It's like a thing they do now, yeah.
And everybody loved Ellen. And Ellen thought she was going to be with Gary. So it kind of is foreboding and like, oh no.
Here's something to remember me by.
Yeah, I'm like, is Gary going to go far but then not be the one and be heartbroken? I'm like, is this some sort of.
I don't see like chemistry with them. I see that him being sweet, but I don't see them having like an actual.
Yeah, when they were dancing and they were talking, I felt like they had like good friend energy,
best
but
friend
I wasn't
vibes.
getting.
I'm not getting like romance.
I wasn't getting the romance,
No.
but he is just. But then they have nicknames for each other already. He calls her Sunshine. And she calls him Goldie.
I mean, it's gorgeous.
Get
It's
out
so
of here,
sweet.
dude. He's like, bye, Sunshine. He's like, bye,
So
Goldie.
cute.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
unreal.
He would be the type of guy too to give you the best nickname of
Mm-hmm.
your life. Like he's so personable. Where like you meet those few gems in your life
Yeah.
who like see you and they give you like this kind of nickname that you're like, oh man, I wish that I could have that nickname.
I just need to
for
FaceTime
forever.
with him for like 20 minutes before work every day or before life starts. You know what I mean?
No, you do need that.
Well, okay, easy.
Your
We
new-
all need it. Okay. No, but you're
It's just
right. I
like
do need
a
it.
new life coach. Gary, your new
He's my
life
life coach. I need to call Gary.
Yeah, Gary needs to be your new life coach. But then before the rose ceremony, we had one more special moment. And this is with Zeus himself,
Oh, yeah.
who also
Forgot about
speaks
this.
German.
Yeah.
We find out that Mark was stationed in Germany for 11 years.
Yeah.
And he taught himself German, which you know what that made me think of right away, everybody. I don't know if you recall my mother last week talking about the fact that she's looking for, now they're a Swiss man because she speaks Swiss German,
Yeah.
but she wants to be able to go live in Switzerland part-time to be with the rest of our family.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Mark was stationed in Germany. It's very close to Switzerland. Okay. And he speaks German and Swiss German crossover. And I get this energy, like I've said time and time again, that he's going to be our next Golden Bachelor. And so I'm like, mother, did you note Mark speaking German?
Very interesting point
You guys could
there.
have some conversations together.
Also, he taught himself before the internet. So this is like
True.
like not
Impressive.
him with like some app.
Yeah.
He's literally like renting books, which is very impressive.
Well, he was stationed there for 11 years. So like
But I'm just saying, it's very
he's going to
impressive.
be around,
Yeah.
a lot of German people being in Germany and such. But I just, I was like, Mom,
It's
Sylvia.
looking good.
I'm like,
Thor's available.
my mom, at least in California, since my Nana has passed, unfortunately, I'm not fluent in Swiss German. Sorry,
Yeah.
Mom. But my mom, because all of our relatives are in Switzerland, my mom doesn't have, since my Nana passed, anyone to speak to in Swiss German all the time.
I know.
So I'm like, Mark,
Could be an option.
anyway. But he gets these cards and he's reading the cards to her and it's just like, hello, Joan.
I like this because I felt like it was really good. It was something fresh. It wasn't just here's a story about me. It was like here's a little tidbit. Here's a fun little game. Ended with the kiss. I felt like it was the first person to kind of take a creative approach to a moment.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Memorable.
Yes. Yes.
Let's
or
play a
production
game.
was like
Either way, it
loved
was just a creative moment, and
Yes.
it felt not the typical let's just sit and talk.
No,
It
not
was
at
nice.
all. And
it was memorable.
And he's so gentle.
Yeah, he's very
in his
gentle.
godhood, in
Yeah.
his Hercules.
Thor's hammer can be gentle as well.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
Zeus's lightning was striking
Yes.
quite softly. And when he says it, the last one, he's like, so the last one, I don't know, can I kiss you?
Yeah.
And after they kiss, she's like, you didn't have to say that in German. She's like, you could have asked for it in English. She's like, you should have asked for it sooner.
Yeah.
She did the double
And
hand.
then they kissed again.
And then he's like, that kiss felt right because we kissed again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
There's vibes there for sure.
He is, his godlikeness continues.
Oh yeah, big time.
The energy continues.
Calm and confident.
And just,
Powerful.
his smile is like the sun.
It really is.
When he smiles, I feel warmth.
No, there isn't, I mean, it's part man for sure, but there's something else. There's deity there.
There
The
for
hair's
sure
white
is
too. Like the
deity.
beard is white, like
There
almost
is-
dyed white. It's so glorious. You know what I mean? It just
And
seems
the gentleness in which he
Yeah.
talks.
he could crush a world and raise a flower.
Whisper a flower into existence.
Mm-hmm.
But that gentleness of that voice does scream deity.
He's deus.
Like a good, like just
Yeah.
pure good deity.
Yes, a good wizard.
Wow. Well, after that, we have the rose ceremony. Jonathan, Dan, and Chock already have roses. But first rose goes to Mark. Yes. And his tie matches her. Noted. He's got like lime green in his tie. I was like, okay, we see what's happening. But Mark, Gary, Pascal, Jordan, CK, aka Charles K, Keith, Gil, Charles L, Kim, Greg, and Guy. And leaving, we have Jack, Christopher, Michael, and Bob. A good crew. And this exit family was one of the most iconic things I've ever seen. Everyone claps when Jack leaves. It's like a hero's exit.
Loved it.
And when he started singing My Way and his voiceover in a cappella continued while the rest of the men were saying goodbye, I was a mess.
Yeah, and then Christopher joins in.
They
sing it together, the last line. I mean, it was it's literally like incredible.
And then you hear him just go, "Take care, guys," to the production. I mean, this was a slice. This was a slice. And Christopher's like, huh? He's like, it's a good thing, like a pie.
Oh my God. It's so majestic. The way they're doing this season is very majestic.
But
very beautiful.
Jack, we will miss you so much. And then we saw next week, we got brutal sports, but fam, we got a sexy Pascal date.
Yeah.
We have Pretty Woman with her clothes.
Oh, yeah.
We have private planes. We have expensive cars. They are literally, again, part of Pascal's contract was, I will get this date. And he is about to get a date of absolute wonder, and I'm very excited for the Pascal date.
It's going to be awesome. It'll be interesting to see if she's like, is this a fun novelty, or do we actually have a connection? That'll be interesting.
I think she's gonna get swept off her feet. I mean, when you're in that environment with Pascal, how can you not?
How could you not?
If they would have put Pascal in like a camping situation, maybe she would have been like, no,
icked out, been like, he can't protect me in the woods.
He's complaining about everything.
Exactly.
He's grumbling about everything. But him and his perfect environment, it's going to be like he's the magic you've always needed.
Exactly.
But then we also got her crying in front of the men about not knowing if she can go through with this.
Yeah.
And then GGT showing up.
Being like, maybe your guy's not here. Maybe he's right in front of you. I mean, if he comes in and kind of tries to swoop, I'll be fucking pissed.
Darling, I knew from the moment that you got out of the limo that you and I were meant to be together. And when you left...
Didn't actually want who I got. It was you I wanted.
Joan, when I saw you in the audience of my wedding, my heart skipped a beat. And I'm here today to, number one, show you my lion tattoo. Number two, ask if you'll hop on my motorcycle and ride off into the sunset.
Yeah, I'm all set on that. So I really hope it's just like a little cameo thing. But if he starts like trying to interject, I'm going to be furious.
Well, family, we love you so much. Next week, stay tuned. One episode, Friday, Golden Bachelor, episode 3. And then the following week, make sure you're watching Love is Blind, because the following week, I believe on Tuesday, not next week, but the week after, so like October 6th or something. That Tuesday, we're going to be recapping the first few episodes of Love is Blind, and then the Golden Bachelor episode number 4. That is a very loud plane. We love you, family, and we'll see you next week. Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Bye.